My aunt sent me. Audio of family calling me pathetic failure. So I cut them off completely, blocked everyone, and sent them a final invoice, showing exactly how much they owed me. My name is Sarah Miller. I'm 29 years old, a registered nurse in Seattle, and until a few nights ago, I still believed my family appreciated me. I had just come off a 12-hour shift at the hospital. My legs were heavy, my scrubs smelled faintly of antiseptic, and all I wanted was a quiet meal at home. I reheated leftover pasta, dropped onto my couch, and scrolled absent-mindedly through my phone. That's when the notification buzzed. Aunt Diane had sent me a voicemail. At first, I thought it was one of those accidental pocket dials. She isn't exactly tech-savvy, and I assumed it would be static or muffled chatter. But curiosity got the better of me. I tapped play, and suddenly, my mother's voice filled the room. "Sarah should be grateful," Mom said, sharp and dismissive. "She'd be nothing without us." The fork slipped out of my hand. I froze. Then my father's laugh chimed in, low and bitter. "A pathetic failure. But at least she's good for something, paying our bills." The words were crystal clear. My chest tightened as Aunt Diane's voice cut in. "If Sarah ever stopped sending money, we'd just guilt her. She's too soft to say no." There was laughter. Cruel, easy laughter. And then I heard my younger brother, Jake Miller. His tone was lazy, smug. "Don't worry. She won't stop. Sarah lives for this. She thinks it makes her important." It felt like the floor gave way beneath me. My own family. The people I'd sacrificed years of my life for. They weren't proud of me. They weren't thankful. They saw me as a wallet with legs. I sat there, stunned, while the recording kept going in the background. Their voices blended into a blur of mockery until it cut off abruptly. Then my phone vibrated again. "This message has been deleted." Aunt Diane must have realized what she'd done. Panic, delete, hoping I hadn't pressed play. Too late. I stared at the empty screen, my thumb hovering like I might replay it. My heartbeat thudded in my ears. I should have called her right then. I should have screamed, demanded an explanation, but I didn't. I set the phone down beside my plate of untouched pasta. I sat in silence, the words replaying in my head like poison on loop. Pathetic failure. Too soft. Walking wallet. Maybe, just maybe, I wanted to believe there was some other explanation. That it was a joke. That I'd missed context. But deep down, I knew better. They meant every word. And the worst part? They weren't wrong about one thing. I had been too soft to say no. How many times had I bailed them out? Dad's credit card debt, Mom's emergency dental work, Jake's rent for the apartment he barely kept clean. I covered it all, even when it meant I skipped saving for myself, even when I worked back-to-back shifts to scrape the money together. Because that's what family was supposed to do, right? I thought they loved me. I thought they appreciated me. But one accidental voicemail tore down every illusion I'd been clinging to, and now I had a choice. I could blow up, confront them immediately, and watch them twist the story until I ended up apologizing. Or I could play along, let them think I was still the same obedient Sarah they could guilt into anything. I leaned back against the couch, staring at the ceiling, my pulse steadying. If they thought I was blind, if they thought I was still their naive little bank account, fine. I'd let them believe that, because for the first time in years, I had the upper hand, and I was going to use it. The next morning, I woke up in my small apartment in Seattle. Same sunlight creeping through the blinds, same coffee machine humming. But something in me had shifted. My phone buzzed on the counter. I didn't even have to guess who it was. "Mom? Morning, sweetie? Hope you're doing well?" Too normal, too sweet. My mom never texted me just to check in. There was always a hook hidden behind the bait. And right on cue, the second message landed. "Oh, by the way, Jake's rent is due this week. Can you send it over by Friday?" I stared at the screen. For years, my reflex was the same. Of course, no problem. I'd even add an apology for the delay, as if I owed them perfect timing. But this time, my fingers hovered over the keyboard. My pulse picked up. I typed 3 words. I can't today. I hit send before I could second guess myself. 1 minute passed. 2. Then, buzz. What do you mean you can't? Mom's reply was fast, sharp. I let the message sit while I sipped my coffee. The bitterness tasted better than it ever had. Another buzz. Sarah, this is serious. We're counting on you. You know Jake doesn't have another option right now. And then came Aunt Diane. Hey, honey, your mom is panicking. Is everything okay with you? I almost laughed out loud. Not once had she asked if I was okay after those endless night shifts, or after I fainted from exhaustion 2 years ago. But the one time I hinted at saying no, suddenly my well-being was urgent. I typed back, calm and flat. I've got some unexpected expenses this month. I can't cover it. Sorry. No explanation, no apology. The silence afterward was louder than any argument. I watched the little typing dots appear, disappear, then appear again. Finally, Mom, what could possibly be more important than your family? Classic. Straight to the guilt trip. Another message, this time harsher. You know your brother can't pay his rent. If he gets kicked out, that's on you. The brother card. They always played it like it was the ace that would make me fold. I clenched my jaw. Memories flickered. Years of working double shifts, sleeping in hospital break rooms, eating from vending machines, just so Jake could have a 1-bedroom apartment he barely kept tidy. Another ping. We raised you, Sarah. We took care of you when you had nothing. Is this how you repay us? I nearly dropped my phone from the sheer audacity. When I had nothing, I worked 3 jobs to get out of their house. I paid my own tuition. I bought my own food. They hadn't carried me. They had drained me. Still, they thought the script would work, that I'd back down like always. I put my phone face down on the counter and took a long breath. For years, the thought of disappointing them had terrified me. I pictured them shutting me out, cutting me off. That fear had chained me in place. But now, the chains were gone, because the voicemail had told me everything I needed to know. They didn't love me. They loved my money. And the moment I stopped sending it, they showed me exactly who they were. By the evening, I thought maybe they'd cooled off. Maybe Mom had run out of guilt trips. Maybe Aunt Diane had moved on to badgering one of her bingo friends instead of me. Then my phone buzzed again. It wasn't a text this time. It was a voicemail from Aunt Diane. I stared at the notification for a long second, my thumb hovering. She wasn't the type to leave voice messages. She liked her sugar-coated texts, the ones dripping with fake sweetness, just sharp enough to cut. Something about this felt different. I pressed play. Her voice snapped through the speaker, sharp and impatient. Sarah, listen. I don't know what kind of game you think you're playing, but this isn't funny. Your mother is losing her mind, your dad is furious, and honestly, I don't blame them. I sat perfectly still. You've always been a little ungrateful, she continued, her tone tightening. But this is beyond selfish. You've got a good job, don't you? You make more than any of us. You don't even need that money. Meanwhile, your family is struggling, and you just, what, wake up one day and decide you don't care anymore? She gave a bitter laugh that made my skin crawl. You owe them, Sarah. After everything they've done for you, after all the sacrifices. They gave you life, and now you're going to just walk away? Pretend they don't exist? What kind of daughter does that? For a moment, she went quiet. I thought she was finished. Then her tone dropped, colder now. You want to be that kind of person, fine. But don't expect them to forgive you. Don't expect them to take you back when you come crawling. Because once you cross this line, Sarah, there's no coming back. The message ended. I sat there with my phone in my hand, the silence thick around me. My chest should have been tight with panic. I should have been scrambling to undo the damage, to prove I wasn't the ungrateful failure they painted me as. But instead, I felt calm. Because Aunt Diane had just confirmed what I already knew. They didn't love me. They didn't respect me. I was nothing more than a paycheck on legs. And if that was the case, then maybe it was time to be nothing to them. I opened my contacts. One by one, I blocked them. Mom, Dad, Aunt Diane. I set the phone down. My hands didn't shake this time. For the first time in years, I felt like I could actually breathe. Or so I thought. Because if my family had lost their grip on me, there was still one person left who wasn't about to let go that easily. My brother, Jake Miller. The morning after I blocked everyone, I thought maybe, just maybe, the storm had passed. My apartment was quiet, my coffee brewed like always, and I felt the weight on my chest start to ease. Then came the knock. It was early. Too early. The kind of early when decent people were still asleep. At first I hoped it was a delivery, maybe my neighbor. But the second knock was louder, sharper, impatient. I already knew. I pulled the door open, and there he was, Jake Miller. My younger brother stood in the hallway looking like hell. His hoodie was wrinkled, his eyes bloodshot, hair sticking up like he hadn't slept. Desperation clung to him like sweat. "Are you serious, Sarah?" he snapped before I could say a word. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I leaned against the doorframe, keeping my tone flat. "Good morning to you too." "Don't do that." He ran a hand through his messy hair, pacing a step. "Don't act like this isn't a big deal. You blocked everyone. Mom's freaking out, Dad's losing his mind, and you're just, what, cutting us off? Pretending we don't exist?" I crossed my arms. "I don't know, Jake. Maybe I just got tired of being treated like a walking wallet." His jaw tightened. "Oh my God." "Not this again." I let out a bitter laugh. "Not this again. Jake, I've been paying your rent for 3 years, your groceries, your utilities, even that ridiculous gym membership you never use. And the one time I say no, suddenly I'm selfish. Suddenly I'm the problem." His lips parted like he wanted to argue, but nothing came out. So I kept going. "And don't even try to play dumb." I heard the voicemail. For the first time, fear flashed across his face. He went pale. "What voicemail?" "You know exactly which one," I said, my voice low but sharp. Jake shifted, fists balling at his sides. "Look, it wasn't serious, okay? We were just joking. You're blowing it out of proportion." "Joking?" I stepped forward, eyes locked on his. "You all sat there laughing, calling me a pathetic failure, saying I should be grateful for paying your bills. Do you have any idea what that feels like, Jake? To work myself half to death, to give up my savings, just so my family wouldn't struggle, and then hear you all mocking me like I'm some idiot ATM?" He exhaled harshly, rubbing his face. "Sarah, come on." "No, you come on." My voice was cold now. "You want money? Get a job. You want rent? Figure it out. Because I'm done. I'm not your safety net anymore." The hallway went silent. For a split second, I saw something flicker across his face. Shame, maybe, regret. But it vanished as quickly as it came. His mouth twisted into something ugly. "Fine. You want to be a selfish bitch? Go ahead. But don't come crawling back when you realize you've got no one left." A door down the hall cracked open. My neighbor, Mrs. Lopez, peeked out, eyes darting between us. Jake noticed too, his face flushing red. I didn't flinch. "You're wrong, Jake. I do have someone left." He sneered. "Who?" "Me." I held his gaze, steady and unshaken. Another silence stretched, his fists clenched tight, his breathing sharp. Finally, he spat on the ground and turned. His footsteps echoed down the hall, fading until the stairwell door slammed shut. I stood there, chest tight but spine straight, because he was wrong. For the first time in years, I wasn't scared. I was free. That night, after Jake stormed off, I sat in the stillness of my apartment. The echo of his footsteps down the hallway lingered in my mind, but instead of dread, I felt clarity. I wasn't just going to block them and disappear. No, that would have been too easy for them, too forgettable. I wanted them to see, in black and white, exactly what I had done for them. Every dollar, every sacrifice. I turned on my laptop, the blue light washing over my living room. My fingers hovered over the keys for a moment, then I started typing. First, I pulled up my online banking. Years of transfers and payments stared back at me like a history of quiet slavery. I opened a spreadsheet and started listing them, line by line. $1,200 for Dad's emergency credit card bill. $3,500 for Mom's dental surgery she never paid back a dime on. Month after month of rent for Jake Miller's apartment, averaging $900 each time. Groceries, utilities, even those random Venmo requests at 2 a.m. From my brother, need gas money. I added them all up. The total was staggering. Tens of thousands of dollars gone, swallowed by their entitlement. Then I drafted the email. Subject line, final invoice. The body was short, cold, and sharp. Here is a detailed record of everything I've covered for you over the years. Every bill, every bailout, every cent I sacrificed while working nights and weekends. I am no longer your lifeline. I will not be your ATM. I will not carry your debts as if they're my own. Consider this my last message. You don't owe me repayment, but you will owe yourselves the realization of how much I gave and how little you respected it. This ends now. Sarah. I attached the spreadsheet, proof, receipts, evidence they could never twist into Sarah exaggerating again. And I didn't stop there. I opened the old family group chat, the one where they used to dump every complaint, every demand. I scrolled through message after message, each one a reminder of how they kept me on a leash. Then I typed, "You all love to talk about what you've done for me. But here's the truth. You drained me. You mocked me. And I'm done. This is my last message. Don't contact me again. Send." The silence afterward was almost sweet. No buzzing notifications. No guilt trips. Just stillness. I leaned back in my chair, the weight lifting off me like a chain snapping. For once, there were no more debts. No more lies. No more pretending. They could keep their manipulations, their guilt, their laughter behind my back. Because I had something they'd never have. Peace. And they had something they'd never expected. The final invoice. The next morning, my phone buzzed again. I almost didn't look. But curiosity won. It was from Jake Miller. "You're making a mistake, Sarah. You'll regret this. Family sticks together." I stared at the message for a long second. Once upon a time, those words would have gutted me. I would have caved, wired the money, and apologized for not doing it sooner. But not anymore. This time, all I felt was relief. I didn't reply. I set the phone face down on the counter, grabbed my mug, and stepped onto my balcony. The Seattle air was crisp, the morning sky painted with streaks of orange and gray. For the first time in years, the silence around me wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. I leaned on the railing, coffee warming my hands, and let myself breathe. They had called me pathetic. A failure, a walking wallet. And maybe I had been, for them. But that chapter was over. I thought about the years I spent racing between 12-hour shifts, paying bills that weren't mine, draining my savings to keep other people comfortable while I lived like a ghost in my own life. That voicemail, as cruel as it was, had been a gift. It ripped the blindfold off. It showed me exactly where I stood. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. So yes, I blocked my parents. I blocked Aunt Diane. I shut the door on Jake. And no, I don't regret it. Because family isn't supposed to drain you. Family isn't supposed to mock you behind your back and call it love. Family, real family, is supposed to stand with you, not on top of you. Setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish, it makes you free. And if freedom means standing alone, so be it. I took another sip of coffee and let the morning air fill my lungs. My phone buzzed again on the counter inside, but I didn't turn it over. Because I didn't need to. I already had my answer. And the truth? It felt damn good. And that's how I finally cut off my family after years of being treated like their personal wallet. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was final. Sometimes, the strongest revenge isn't a big scene. It's choosing yourself, walking away, and refusing to be their doormat one more day. But what do you think? Should Sarah have given her family another chance, or was cutting them off the only way to take her life back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what side you're on.